Okay guys, welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. Hope you're all doing well. I'm absolutely fine. Weather is shit. Of course that was a given. I've been on holiday all this week, and of course, the week before, last week, weather-wise, it was actually quite nice. I had some nice weather, and this week, it's just been crap. It has been heavy rain, it has been cold. Where are we just now? We're in the middle of March, and it's the temperature, I think the temperature for tomorrow is, it's to hit 3 degrees. So I don't know what's going on there, but yes, it's been pretty shite weather-wise. I had, as always is the case, when you're on holiday, you have all these plans that you want to do, all these things you're going to do, and invariably you end up either doing none of them or maybe one or two tops. I was quite productive today. I bought some. It looks like laminate flooring, but it's made of kind of linoleum, but it's kind of a harder surface. I bought them to put down my downstairs toilet, and I bought the paste to go with it, the sort of adhesive, and they've been sitting in my kitchen for probably about 2 months. And this morning what was I doing? I was actually sitting playing. My RetroPie arcade controller thing, and I thought I better do something. You know what? I should really crack on with that. So I did it, and it looks alright. It looks okay. It doesn't look brilliant, but you know what? I'm not a fan of DIY at all. I absolutely hate it. I hate it with a passion. The only thing I hate more than DIY is doing gardening. Hence the reason I got my garden completely chipped, and I got some decking put down, so I don't have to, the only thing I have to do is go into the garden once every 6 months and pull out a couple of weeds. That's been that. But yeah, I've not been doing a hell of a lot. I've been playing my Raspberry Pi downstairs. I bought myself a new TV. When did I buy it? I bought it over a year ago. Just over a year ago. Now the TV that I had before is that one there. That. Now that there is a 42-inch plasma. Now I bought that in 2007, and I think it was £750 or something. And even then, that wasn't regarded as, you wouldn't regard that as a particularly expensive TV. And I bought that in 2007, and when I moved into my own house, I thought to myself, right, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to a new television. So I didn't really have any idea of kind of budget. I thought to myself, well, for £400, I'm going to get a good TV. And one of my mates recommended, in fact, you know what it was? It was in Black Friday sales last year. No, not last year, the year before, I should say. So it was November 2019. My mate sent me a link to a TV that he had just bought, and it was a Toshiba 55-inch, and it was £300. And you know what? It's a nice television, or it was a nice television. I don't have it now. It's a nice television, but the problem being, if there's any real dark scenes in a program, whatever, you get all this artifact in it, and it's actually really hard to see the picture. And it always annoyed me, and I always just kind of thought, well, that's just the way it is. That's how a TV picture should be. But then my girlfriend, she bought herself a Samsung TV about a year ago. And it's a slightly smaller TV, but you know what? See, the difference in picture quality is like night and day. It is just unbelievably sharp, to the point it looks too sharp. What would we watch? We were watching some program, and it was just so sharp. It actually looked like you were in the studio with them, which was very, very odd. But anyway, that was that. But So I bought this Toshiba TV, and as nice as it is, it was annoying me that just, you know, there were certain times where you couldn't really see the picture because it was so dark. And one thing that really bugged me, and I was asking a few people in Discord about it, I noticed when I play my Raspberry Pis on the TV, there's really bad lag. Now I put that down to being the actual controller itself. Excuse me, it's so into me yawning. You won't be talking. I put that down to being the TV itself, sorry, the controller itself. And a few people said, no, what you want to do is you want to put your TV onto game mode. Now I had a look, and I couldn't find the game mode. And here's a thing that really annoyed me about the TV, and I've tried and I just simply could not figure it out. If you're watching something and you want to adjust the brightness, the buttons, there wasn't like a brightness button. You had to press a menu button or a home button. But when you're watching something, you couldn't bring the menu up. The only way to get the menu would be to actually go into like an HDMI, turn the input off, so you're basically on like the source, you know, HDMI 1, but you had to make sure the actual input itself was turned off. That would then let you bring up the menu and you could adjust the picture. But the problem being is, all you had was a black screen and you're doing brightness up and down and contrast. What you want to be able to do is have the picture on the screen and then change it. Now this TV, for some bizarre reason, you simply could not do that. If you were watching something, didn't matter how many times you pressed a button, you would not get the menu popping up. So that, coupled with the lag thing, and then coupled with the fact that, you know, my girlfriend's TV was just like night and day, I thought, you know what, stuff it. I've been selling a few bits and pieces. I'm going to treat myself. Now this is the thing, I'm saying treat myself. The way, I've had buyer's remorse in the past. You know, it's a thing that I think we all suffer from time to time. But normally you get buyer's remorse when it's, I don't know, I think when you've maybe got somebody else to think about. So if you've got a family and you've maybe spent £500 on something, it's, you know, you're like, oh, I should have done that. But you know what? I realise that I work hard. I work very hard. You know, I've not been off at all through the lockdown. I've been working constantly. I do work hard. The money I get is my money, and so, you know, you can't take it with you. I don't go out. I don't go to the football. I don't go to the pub. Alright, I know we can't do that at the moment. So, you know, I do treat myself from time to time. So I thought, you know what, stuff it. I've got an Argos card, which is great because it means you can buy something and you can basically pay it up. As long as you pay it up within 6 months, you don't pay any interest. So I sold my Toshiba. I got a couple £100, but it was 230 quid I got for it. I'm going to put that towards my new TV, and I think it'll be like £50 a month for 6 months. So yeah, got a new TV, and what a difference in the picture. And more importantly, the difference between using this controller, using the Raspberry Pi. There's an option for game mode which I've switched on, and it just it goes from being unplayable to playable. So really chuffed with that. I was kind of thinking, I've just shelled out all this money and I'm getting a TV that's no bigger. I mean, it's a 55 inch, which I think is plenty. We did see that back in 20 years ago when we had our 32 inch. Can you remember 32 inches was like, it was like a cinema screen, you know, and it's mental to think that we're now using TVs that are almost kind of double resolution, or double size I should say. So yeah, delighted with my TV. It's great I can now play my Raspberry Pi properly. So that's kind of been that. I've been playing a fair bit of that. I've been playing, what was I playing tonight? I put the MAME cab on. I was playing, what was I playing? I was playing Dig Dug. I was playing Burger Time. I was in touch with the guy that sold me the MAME, my arcade cabinet, my is it? I can't even remember the name of it. And it doesn't matter. My new main cabinet. That's the one that's got Double Dragon in it. He's telling me that I think. Excuse me. Hopefully get the multi board in about a week's time, and then the guy has kindly offered to come through and fit it. Looking forward to being able to play other games besides Double Dragon. I mean, if having this cabinet has taught me anything, it's how much I don't have any love for Double Dragon. Now I know there's a few people love Double Dragon. I did love Double Dragon back in the day, but looking at it now, I just feel it's quite a clunky kind of game. Maybe playing it in 2 players it'd be more fun, but I'm not a fan of it. So because of that, I've not really been playing that cabinet at all. I am looking forward to getting the other board for it, and I can start playing stuff as well. Just a quick one. I did mention about hopefully going to do another Sid show. Now, I spoke to Panther and Lacosa, and Lacosa has decided he doesn't want to do any more Sid shows, which is absolutely fine. If I'm being 100% honest, I think it's kind of ran its course. I mean, I think there's only, although we always, a big part of the show was there's so many thousands, there's 50,000 Sid tunes out there. There's so much to talk about. Technically you could keep making these shows over and over and over and over. But I think the whole point of it was the 3 of us talking and having a bit of banter and piss taking. And I do think, had we decided to make would it be number 7, number 8? I can't remember exactly. I think we'd kind of ran its course, and I'm a great believer in thinking that you shouldn't really, don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, because saying he who's done something like I don't know how many waffles, I've been making waffles for best part of 8 years, I think. Something like that, just pretty mental. But no, I mean, something like the Sid show is based on, it's got a structure to it. And I do think that you can get to a point where it's time to kind of put it out to rest. Let's put it out for retirement. I mean, I think the Sid shows are great, I really do think they're good, but I think the time is right. When Lacosa said that he didn't want to do any more, I spoke to Panther and I says, what do you think? And he's like, well, to be honest, without Lacosa I don't want to do any, and I think I'm the same. I don't think trying to do it just with 2 people would have the same effect. It's a bit like when a lead singer of a rock band leaves. You don't really want. It's not the same. It's not the same not having that. You need that third person. So yeah, sadly the Sid show is no more. Like I says, it's not to say, God, one of my dogs is just in a pump. Jesus. It's not to say it won't return in some form at some point in the future, but thanks to Lacosa for taking part in these all that time. It is, I think they were really good fun. I know you guys definitely enjoyed them. So anyway, before my dogs absolutely stink me out, I'm going to crack on with the questions because they are horrible. Ugh, not the questions, my dogs pumping. Right, let's have a wee look. Right, Del Boy, struggling this week and hard to think of a question, but here goes. You are granted one wish to change the future of retro gaming for everyone. What is your wish? My wish would be we'd do away with online gaming, digital downloads, in-app purchase type things, and you buy a game and you get the full game on the disc and it just works. You don't have to pay for anything. By all means, you can earn money within the game by playing it, but don't have in-app purchases and absolutely no digital downloads. So yeah, it needs to come back out in CD, cartridge, whatever. Even tape for that matter. Nah, let's not go that far. Tape, I've got a lot of nostalgia for a lot of things, but tape is not something I would want to go back to. It brings back a lot of happy memories, but You know, we don't really want to wait for 10 minutes for a game to load and then find out that it crashes. And it also means that you can't really have multi-load games, because multi-load and tape are just bloody awful. So yeah, that's what it would be, Dale Boy. No more digital downloads. You buy a game, you own the game, and everything is just built into the game. Dave Connolly, the games are great and clearly people enjoy that. However, they're also here for you, and in life we all have our ups and downs. So I do hope you cheer up and never judge the success of your channel by the sub count. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do that interview in the not too distant future. In the meantime, hold your head high and keep moving forward. Thank you very much, David. Yeah, I was just I was having a bit of a moan last week. I wouldn't say I was in a downer, but I was just a bit, I don't know, just a bit, you're absolutely right though. I mean, as I've said, it's all about, for me, it's all about the community. And, you know, we've got an excellent community in this. I mean, I'm main meister, but at the end of the day, the channel, although it's my channel, it belongs to everybody. It's a community, you know. It's the same with Discord. I mean, there's quite a few people I notice are on Discord. I don't think they don't follow my channel at all. Now, possibly I would have been saying, well, wait a minute, you can't expect to come into a main meister Discord channel and not really watch the channel. But I'm not going to be arsey about it and say, well, you have to. At the end of the day, having people in the Discord thing, it's got a good bunch, it's a good community. There's always people to ask questions or anything about, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But thanks, David. And yeah, I mean, I know you did ask me about doing an interview. I mean, I'm always up for an interview, whether it's online or, I mean, you're saying that we'll hopefully get a chance to do that interview in not too distant future. Do you mean face to face or whatever? I mean, give me a shout, David. Virtually any night during the week, apart from Wednesdays, is good for me, or like a Saturday, whatever. Just give me a shout, mate, and we'll get the video done. But thank you very much for the kind comments. Country Roadist, great waffle, still watching after all those years. Thank you very much. Question for next waffle: what's the one piece of hardware you most regret buying for your collection? Hey, I mean, I've mentioned this one before. I bought what did I buy? It was called our Amiga, and it's like basically like a mini Amiga. But you know, it was like a mini Amiga. You plugged it into your HDMI TV, and you could play games. I mean, I'm assuming now it's been superseded with things like the Raspberry Pi, but I was really excited about getting it, and when I got it, I couldn't actually get it tuned in. I mean, I could get it not tuned in. The picture was simply too big for the TV, and I tried it on, I think it was 5 TVs that I had in the house, and I couldn't get it working. So fortunately I ended up selling it quickly, and I got my money back for it. And the person that bought it, a certain Chris Wilkins, he off Retro Fusion, and all the books and the Zap annuals. I know Chris bought it from me, and I think he ended up selling it within a couple of weeks as well. I don't even know if that Amiga is a thing. I couldn't imagine it being, because we've got Raspberry Pis. I mean, I've got a Raspberry Pi 4 which is running, and it's got an Amiga operating system on it, and it's fantastic. It's like having, if you can't afford an Amiga, then get yourself one of these. Just fantastic. But I'll need to check that. It's called the Amiga. And yeah, it was just, I just basically couldn't get it to work, and I ended up selling it. But I'm just trying to think, is there any actual hardware that I've got now that I regret buying? I mean, I suppose if I'm being honest, I sold my Neo Geo MVS system a few weeks ago. It's a brilliant bit of hardware, fantastic piece of hardware. But you know what? After I bought it, I used it a handful of times, and I ended up not using it. And I don't know why that is. I think possibly, and it's the same reason why I never really bothered about getting an NES, is because the emulation of the Neo Geo is so good, and it has been for many, many, many years, I can play Neo Geo games on a plethora of systems. You know, whether it's a Raspberry Pi, whether it's my Xbox, whatever, my GPD XD, all these different systems, they all emulate the Neo Geo absolutely perfectly. So I think probably that's the reason. But I managed to sell. I sold the Neo Geo MVS a few weeks ago to a gentleman who I think he's subscribed to my channel. I don't know if he actually watches it. I hope if you are watching this, I hope you're enjoying it, mate. I mean, like I said, it's a fantastic piece of hardware, and I mean the thing is, you're saying, did I regret buying it? I didn't regret buying it. I suppose if I'm being honest, paying a fair bit of money for something and then you don't use it, that's where I regret. I regret anything. If I spend a lot of money on something and I don't use it, then I sometimes do regret buying it. I don't regret buying the Neo Geo, but it was a waste of money. I bought it and I never used it. But saying that, I think I sold it for just under what I paid for it, so I've got my money back. But I don't think there's anything else. There's nothing else. The only other thing that I did buy, and again I didn't regret it, but I got rid of it pretty quick, was the EverDrive cartridge for the N64. I mean, I'm not a fan of the N64. I don't even own one, but I bought that and then I never used it again. Never ever used it. Don't know why. Just I'm not a fan of the N64. But yeah, I don't think there's any. I am quite finicky about what I buy. I mean, if I'm being brutally honest, absolutely brutally honest, and I'm going to go and show you it. I don't regret buying it because I know I could sell it for 3 times the price. I bought this, the Spectrum Next, and I couldn't actually tell you the last time I used it. Yeah. I don't regret buying it because, for the simple reason is, I know that I don't look upon it. I mean, it's a new computer. I look upon that as my go-to Spectrum. So if I ever want to, once the computer club goes back, once we get out of lockdown, I can go back to the computer club again. You know, I can, if I'm going to play a Spectrum game, I'll play it on the Next. But I don't, it's a lot of money for what I use it for. I mean, I've got the Just Specky, which is, it's a Spectrum keyboard. It's a 48k Spectrum, but it's got 128k in it. And, you know, I could have just used that. Instead, I've got a Spectrum Next, which people are desperate to buy. And I've got one sitting there and I'm not using it. But that's me. I mean, I'm terrible for buying things and I don't use it. And I do kind of feel guilty. I mean, I see it sitting there week after week, not getting used, and I think, what a waste. And sometimes I think to myself, should I just sell it? But I don't know, because I like it. I think if it was just I think if I could just use it as a new computer, i.e. like the Next, the fact that it's got, I would probably sell it, but the fact that I can use it for playing Spectrum games, I'm probably going to keep it. Well, I will keep it, you know. But no, I don't think there's ever been any one thing that I bought and then I regretted it. If I'm being honest, not my latest MAME cab, the MAME cab that I bought fairly recently, the big Defender one, when I bought it and I got it home, it was so massive and it just looked quite ugly. But what I did was I took the wheels off it and I've kind of reduced it in size, and I like it now. But I think for the first couple of days I was kind of wishing I hadn't bought it, but I love it now. It was just too big. I mean, Mr. Spriggs is a tall bloke, and you know, it belonged to Paul. I'm a bit of a short arse, and like I say, it's just having this massive cabinet. It just looked too big. It looked ridiculous. But taking the wheels off, it's knocked about 2.5 inches off it, which has made it much better. But I love it now, and I don't regret buying it at all. So yeah, anyway, next is thank you very much, Country Roaders, and again thanks for the thank you for the continued support that you give my channel. I do appreciate it. Paul Patrick, I can totally relate to running. I found it hard since lockdown to stay motivated with no park runs or organised races. The dark long nights through winter don't help. Hoping the vaccine will bring some form of normality soon. Keep up the great content. Your channel has been a shining light through lockdown. Thanks, Paul. And I hope you realise I am sincere when I say, when I read comments about your channel being a shining light through lockdown, it really, really makes me smile. It makes me so happy that my ridiculously amateur videos that I put out actually cheer people up. It really does. It does make me happy when I think that I can have that effect. And that's why I continue to do this. Because trust me, the last few weeks I have been struggling. I've really had I've had no sort of interest or passion about making videos at all just now. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Anyway, listen, thank you very much, Paul. And Scott Breon, always waffle as always. Sorry, awesome always. Awesome waffle as always. Thanks, Scott. Question for the next one. What is, in your opinion, the nicest or coolest control panel you've seen on an arcade cabinet? Oh my. Now, unfortunately, Scott, you're probably asking the wrong person, because, like I say, coming from Central Scotland, I never really got to. I didn't really get to visit the arcades that often, so I'm not overly familiar with a lot of cabinets. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I'm trying to do it from the very few that I actually know. I think probably one of the most, most impressive ones would be Defender. Just with all the different buttons on it, it does look very iconic. One of the nicest looking ones, which it ended up not getting sort of commercially produced, was it was a control panel for missile command. And above it, so you had the control panel on the bottom with the trackball and the buttons, but above it you had this huge big display panel. I'll try and put a link to it above. Now, Tony Temple talks about it in great length in his book. Now, if you've not got Tony Temple's book and you've got any interest at all in old games, especially Missile Command, then do yourself a favour, go and buy Tony's book. It is awesome, it really is. This cabinet, it had the buttons on the bottom, and it had this big massive display with lights. Now, the idea being you would get visual indicators when missiles were going to hit you and whatever it was, but the problem being is you were having to take your eyes off the screen to look up at this panel to see what light was flashing, and then by the time you looked down you'd probably been killed. So I think they realised it was actually detrimental to gameplay, but it did look pretty damned awesome. But yeah, like I says, I think the artwork, I know you're talking about control panel, the artwork, my favourite artwork, I love Centipede. I love the look of Centipede artwork, but I just think the original Space Invaders by Taito, the big giant aliens they look like big yetis or whatever you want to call them, throwing these big kind of spears. They look nothing like the actual graphics of the game, but I just thought that is really absolutely iconic artwork. Have I got? Yeah, there we go. I've actually got. Well, you might be able to see it. Can you see it? Just about up there. Did I put it on the sides? Yeah, I certainly have. I'll let you see it. There you go. Can you see that? That is absolute class. Yeah, that is, without a doubt, one of my favourite, probably my favourite side art I think on a game. But like I say, Scott, unfortunately I'm probably not the best person to really answer that, because I wasn't really subjected to that many arcade games just be purely and simply because where I lived, unfortunately. But anyway, listen, thank you, Scott. And let's have a wee look. Colin Jones, another job, stay still, man. Seriously, good luck, and I hope this one is the one that suits you best. Nah, you know what, I've kind of been, I mean, it's not crossed my mind. I'd be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind about I've not been in this job that long, 7 months. But the thing is, 7 months to me is long enough to know, is this the job for you? Is this what you want to do? You know, I mean, I'm 53. Technically, I could retire at 55, 65. Chances of that happening is probably nil. But I want this job to be my last job, if that makes any sense. I really do. And I'm you know, I don't regret leaving at all. I actually went in, what do you call it, in to see my new boss this week, because I'm on holiday this week, so I went in to fill in a few bits and pieces. It seemed like a really nice place, so looking forward to starting. Waffle question, what are your favourite non-computer games? That's a great question. That's one I've never been asked before, ever. My favourite non-computer games, if played properly with people who don't get upset and whatever, I do like Monopoly. Not played it for years. I also enjoy Yahtzee. Not played it for years again. Trying to think what else. But my favourite non-computer game, and it's a game I very, very rarely get to play, and it's chess. Now, my dad taught me how to play chess years and years ago, and to this day I still love the game. I mean, I don't play it at all. I mean, I played my girlfriend, it's quite funny, I played her about a couple of months ago, and I think I beat her in like 4 moves. She was so pissed off. But yeah, I mean, if there's anyone out there, I know there are some online chess games where you can sort of play in real time. If anybody is interested in giving me a game, I mean, there must be something in Steam that we can play. If there's anyone that wants to get a game of chess, let me know. Because yeah, I love chess. But any other I used to enjoy Trivial Pursuit, but that's almost kind of like an old-fashioned thing now. But Trivial Pursuit was good. I was never into Dungeons and Dragons. Never ever got into these at all. Never really played them. Yeah, any other favourite non-computer games? I used to enjoy Uno, which is an American card game. I used to quite enjoy that. I also enjoy like things like poker as well. Dominoes. My granny was a massive fan of dominoes, and she was really good. Even when she died, or not when she died, but just before she died, she was 105 years old, and even then, she still used to enjoy playing dominoes, and she was bloody good at it. So anyway, Colin, thank you very much. And down the rabbit hole for the Friday Waffle. Hi, Alan. Steve Benway mentioned this week that Amstrad CPC might have been good, as it had its own cassette deck and monitor, no need for fighting over who gets to use the TV. Was there ever a situation you had as a youngster where you were denied access to the TV or any other home appliances that denied you game time? No, not really. I think maybe in the early days, Kev, when I got my Binatone TV game. I mean, that was before. You know, we only had one TV. Nowadays, I mean, I don't know how many TVs I've got in this house. I've got, I don't know, loads. Nowadays, everybody's got a TV, but back in the 70s and 80s, you know, you just had one TV. So yeah, when I had my Binatone TV game, there was times where I wanted to play it and I couldn't play it because my mum and dad were watching TV, so you had to kind of obviously work around them. But when I got my Commodore 64, within a couple of months, not even months, probably weeks, I bought myself a little portable television, and I actually had that television. I bought that in 1983, and I had that. I actually flung it out when I moved in 1996, so I had it for a long time. It was a great little television. Yeah, so after I got my TV, it didn't become a problem. But no, I think the only time was, like I say, is when I had my Benetton TV game, and for the first few weeks of having my Commodore 64, I had to use the TV, and so it was a pain in the arse, because it was like, well, can I get on the TV for an hour? And they'd be like, right, it's 7 o'clock, you're coming off, and that was it. But yeah, in the main, Kev, it wasn't really a big issue. Just meant to say, Kev, I was watching your video of the little mini asteroids cabinet. Now, I've got a few little mini cabinets. They're not as big as the one that you had. I think it's 12 inches or something. These ones are a lot smaller. I do keep meaning to do a video. And yeah, I was interested to see the little asteroids cabinet. It does look pretty damn smart. The thing is, I was going to say a question for yourself, Kevin. Well, this is a question for yourself if you want to include it in one of your videos. Do you find that these mini cabinets, are they just a novelty, or are they actually, can you genuinely play them? Now, I know you can play them because I've watched you play them. I mean, you can play these things, but is it actually functional enough that you would actually choose to play that? I mean, would you ever choose to play that rather than your MAME cab, or rather than asteroids on your computer? For me, I mean, the machines I've got up there, you can play them, like I said, it's a novelty, but I would never, I mean, I've got one up there, Burger Time. I would never think, oh, I fancy a game in Burger Time. Tell you what, I'll play it on that 6.5 inch cabinet. It's just not something I would do. So what are your thoughts, Kevin? Do you think, are they really expensive ornaments, or do you think they're legitimate computer hardware? Anyway, yeah. Right, so regards TV, like I says, it was just in the early days, and then when I got one TV, it wasn't really a big problem. Secondly, Tony over at Electric Adventures picked up one of those huge Capcom fight sticks in the shape of the Capcom logo, because it dropped to half price. But even at that cheap, I have no interest, and I love Capcom. Yeah, I've seen them before, Kevin. I was initially interested, excuse me, but then I thought to myself, well, I've got brilliant arcade sticks that can plug in and play anything. Why would I want to buy a huge one and just be able to play Capcom? Because at the end of the day, they're emulated. So I've not really had any interest in it. I suppose if you get it for 50 quid, I'd maybe buy it, but I think you're probably talking, I think they were not about £200, I think it was. Anyway, the question was, if you see some piece of gaming hardware you're slightly interested in, how low does the price have to drop before you go for it? There's not really been any bit of hardware, Kev, that I've ever really thought about. Oh, you know, I'm not saying that money's not an object, but generally, if there's something that I want, then once I've got the money, I'll just go and buy it. You know, if there's something I really want, then I will buy it. There's not many things that I'll look at and go, I would love that, but I'm not going to, I can't afford it, or I don't want to spend £300 on it. You know, if I see something that I want, then I'll go and buy it once I've got the money. It doesn't really bother me. Well, it does bother me how much, within reason, you know what I mean? But I suppose that Capcom thing, you know, there's certain things, there's certain bits of hardware that I've seen, and I think, nah, I'm not spending £300 on it. But maybe that, you know, like I said, if I saw one of these for 50 quid, I would maybe take a wee punt on it, you know what I mean? But anyway, listen, Kev, thank you very much. But let me know what you think, Kevin. Do you think that these miniature machines, are they legitimate gaming platforms, or are they novelty? Personally, I think they're just a novelty. It's something you'd have on a table and some, oh, look at that, that's smart as any, oh, asteroids, hey, you can play it. but I don't think you're going to want to play it for any length of time. Maybe with the 12-inch ones it's different. I mean, I've got a couple of the tiny wee ones that are about that size, Space Invaders and Galaxian, and yeah, they're perfectly playable, but yeah, I don't really see the point in them. They're more just expensive ornaments. Excuse me. Right, Milthy Swinbuckle. Question for the next waffle. Being game lovers, we always wax lyrical about computers and arcade games. So my question this week is this. What, if anything, do you not like about computer games and the people who play them? Before you dismiss this question, and rightly so in my opinion, what would you say at least are the negatives with playing computer and arcade games? I think there's not many things that I don't like. I mean, there's certain game types that I don't have any interest in, but I just choose not to play them. What I can't be bothered with is, I mean, like I've got a YouTube channel, as you know, and I do it all for free. Yeah, I get a few quid from Google every 6 months, but I don't charge anybody. I do this purely for free. I've got a full-time job, I've got a family, and I do this for entertainment, you know, to entertain myself and, you know, some people watching it. And it just amazes me how there are so many, I'm not going to call them keyboard warriors, there are people in this, and it's probably the same in any kind of hobby, but you get your real die-hard computer video game fans who, God forbid, you disagree with what they say. If you tell them that a particular game is rubbish, or you tell them that system is better than this system, oh my God, you know, some people are just, they're so rude, they know better. And the fact that I get people down thumbing my videos means there are people who presumably they're into video games, and instead of thinking, oh, fair enough, this guy's taking the time to make a YouTube video, instead of either just ignoring it, or if they watch it, give it a thumbs up, they actually go to the bother of giving it a thumbs down. So there's so many negativity that goes on. And yeah, like I said, I think it's like any sort of hobby. There's always going to be diehards, people who, wouldn't matter what you say, they're always right. They're always right. And certain people have certain expectations. You know, I'm kind of talking about YouTube again. Some people have expectations. I mean, there was a certain person that used to watch my channel, and he got very upset because I didn't play this particular game in my Sunday live stream, and he ended up unsubbing me from my channel. And you're like, really? I didn't remember actually charging you to watch my channel. I just think it's quite amusing that there's people that it's like they take it as almost like real life. And it's the same with people that dismiss emulation or dismiss Raspberry Pis or dismiss mini systems because it's not real, it's not got a CRT, it's not got proper controls, it's emulation, whatever. You know what I mean? Get over yourself. It's a hobby, it's a gaming hobby. What would you say are the negatives? I mean, yeah, just pretty much what I've said. I think the negatives for me now is, well, I'm not going to get into the whole, what do you call it, scalper debate. My friend Colin is still trying to buy a PlayStation 5, and I can't for the life of me believe that 6 months ago was it? I don't know when it came out. 6 months ago, we'll just assume it was 6 months ago, that you still cannot buy this console. That just absolutely flabbergasts me. I can't believe that you want to buy something and you can't physically go and buy it because of the way they've set up this, you know, the buying system. I mean, Sony need to take some responsibility for, you know, not making enough. I don't know whether the lockdown's got anything to do with spare parts, you know, sort of a shortage on them. I don't know, but the fact that you want to buy a machine and for 5 months or 6 months you can't physically buy it, because as soon as you buy it, people are buying, and then they're selling them for like £1,000. So I suppose the slight negativity that I've got is, when I first got into this hobby, the sort of retro scene, I'm talking about 2000, that was 20 years ago, it was far more niche than it is now. Now it's massively mainstream, and if I'm being honest, it's probably, I've lost a bit of interest in the scene, I think, because it's so popular. I mean, Steve Ben, we were talking about Steve earlier on, he has got an amazing collection of hardware, and in his own words, he bought a lot of the machines when they were going for pennies, because nobody, a Jupiter Ace, why would anybody want a Jupiter Ace? It's shit. And I don't know what he got it for, but now you try and buy something like that and it goes for stupid money. So yeah, I suppose the fact that it's become so big and so mainstream, if anything, it's kind of tarnished my liking for the hobby a wee bit. Don't know. Anyway, Alfie, thank you very much. Ian Hunter, I was going to say good evening, Ian. Hi Alan, how's it going? I'm very well, thanks Ian. Question for the Waffle. I've just bought a third-party wireless controller for the Switch and it works just fine. What's your opinion on cheap knockoff hardware to use with your collection of consoles? You know what, Ian? I don't have a problem with them at all. I mean, I've got quite a few third-party accessories for, I think, my Mega Drive, my SNES. You know what? As long as it does the trick, as long as it works okay, then I don't have a problem. I mean, the thing is, a lot of third-party accessories give you additional functionality. They give you more buttons. They give you things like slow motion. They give you things like auto fire. So, you know what? As long as they work, then I really don't see the problem, because the thing is, original hardware, especially for modern consoles, I mean, I don't know how much a Switch wireless controller is. In fact, I do actually know, yeah, I've got the Pro controller, and I think it was about 70 quid, and I almost fell off my chair when I found that out. And I mean, I ended up buying it. In fact, I think I got it for my daughter's Christmas, actually. But yeah, it's ridiculously expensive. I suppose you've got to think about, the technology that goes into a wireless controller now compared to, buying a little SNES pad 30 years ago. There is going to be a difference in price, but no, there's plenty decent third-party hardware out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of it that's absolutely crap. But if it works properly, it does the trick, and it's less money, then why not? I don't have a problem with that at all. So anyway, listen, thanks Ian, and thanks everybody that's taken time to ask me a question this week. I do appreciate it, because I have been flagging a wee bit on this sort of subject matter, and I do need your questions. So listen, I just want to kind of very quickly finish off now and say thank you very much to everybody that continues to support the channel. Thanks to any new subscribers. I hope you enjoy watching the channel and you will stick with it. Please head over to the Mainmeister Discord channel. There's a great wee bunch, and I will be back on Sunday 6 till 8. And finally guys, as always, thank you very much for watching.